You're listening to the Arrow of Time right here on the Musings of a Geek podcast network. Everybody, and welcome to the Arrow of Time, episode number 20. Oh no, 100.
Welcome to 2008 or whatever.
Yes,
oh, geez, yeah.
123. Excuse me, I had a thing in my throat. And my name is Matt.
I'm Joseph.
I am Gabe.
And I'm Susan.
And we are today talking through the Series 9. It's the Series 9 recap, really, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
A nice bullet point list that we go through very dryly.
Yes.
Series 9 came and went, and we barely knew her.
What is our overall feelings about Series 9? Like, Gabe.
I've said to you people several times now.
What do you mean, you people?
That I think it was the strongest series of the modern era. And therefore, the strongest series since the show started 51 years ago.
But is it the best?
Strongest.
Yeah, those are different ideas.
Wow. This is the first time I heard you use strongest instead of best. I feel like you're kind of filtering yourself.
Hedging my bets?
Yeah.
Yes. There have been conversations with you sitting in that chair right over there saying, this is the best, absolute best ever. I can't prove that right now, but it's in my memory.
Oh, I recorded all the conversations.
Okay, there we go.
Well, no, as we talked it through, I was sort of talked down a little bit. Not unconvinced, though, that it basically had very few lows. The lowest low was Sleep No More, and even that wasn't awful.
That was a single-parter, right?
Yes.
That was the
only one?
The only one. Which had an idea for 2 parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Susan, what did you think overall of this Series 9?
I think it was probably the most enjoyable season I've watched. I mean, it's arguable whether it was the best or not. I'm sure that's, everybody's personal opinion, but I definitely had a good time watching pretty much every episode, which says something, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Joseph.
Bored to tears.
Hated it.
No, it's not quite that bad.
Oh,
but
are we in that? Are we in that configuration again? Where because here you are on the this is the strongest season of Doctor Who, and then here you are, Joseph, with the antithesis of that, and then Susan and I are just kind of somewhere in the middle.
Well, I don't want to go that far because I came to a conclusion, and I think we talked about this too at the same time, where it's a season of Doctor Who. That's what it is. It's no better or worse than any other ones. It kind of just evens out in the end. So yes, this was a season of Doctor Who. That is my opinion.
Opposite of our opinions, your opinion, Joseph, is fact.
Yes. So points for me.
Yes.
So what did you think, Matt?
Well, I've got 4 pages of notes here.
Oh, God.
Hopefully it's double spaced.
Here's the thing. So first, when I watched it, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode, or the whole season, and not probably as much as you, Gabe, and I wanted to enjoy it as much as you. And then I binged watched it after watching all of the ones from week to week, and it's in the span of like 2 days. I watched everything, and I enjoyed it much more binge watching it. And I also kind of came to a stronger conclusion about it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I definitely saw everything, Gabe, that, or I saw where you're coming from, how strong it is, because I feel like the stories are really, really strong, and everything is really, really. I don't want to necessarily use tight for this season because there were some things, but everything definitely seemed to kind of have a certain focus, and I thought that the stories were good, that there were very few things, if any, were loose ends. I thought that Clara at the end, I mean, they had some really, really great, speeches and plots, and I think that Clara's whole storyline was wrapped up. There was no tricking. It was all logical. So everything kind of unraveled, and there was no little gotchams in there. The biggest flaw, or the biggest weakness, I think, of this season was the fact that everything was two-parters.
Or 3.
That's a really loose 3-parter.
As were some of the 2-parters. So
Yeah, but I mean, it's really weird now. In a whole age, we're talking about this. How the age of television right now is, everything kind of links together, and it is odd to kind of think that the only thing that connected the 3-parter at the end was that the storyline still kind of continued throughout, and it's like, well, yeah, usually that's what TV shows do. Like the next part 2 was like somebody on a
lawnmower.
You have strange neighbors.
Doing donuts in a lawnmower over there right outside our door while we're trying to podcast, but it picks it up on the microphones nicely.
Omnidirectional. No.
Right. No, I think that the weird thing about the 3-parter was that it's called a 3-parter, yet the only thing that makes it a 3-parter is Heaven Sent was just following what happened in the Face the Raven. Like, they weren't the same story, but it was just kind of dealing with the result of what happened in this story.
What is it about that bothers you, Matt? Is it just the fact that they're calling it a 3-parter, but it's not really?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it would be how every other season of television would unfold. I mean, if you look at Lost, you would like, oh, that's a 357-parter. How many episodes there are?
Oh, I hope not that many. Oh, God.
But, I mean, everything has to do, if you look at Lost, or, like, I'm sure there's a lot of other television shows, but that I'm not jamming into my mind right now. But yeah, it just seems like everything is already like that, and it's called a series or a season or whatever you want. It's just odd that that's a 3-parter.
Well, I think Gabe has been talking about making Doctor Who more Game of Thrones-like by getting rid of the idea of episodes completely. Well, obviously episodes still, but it's no longer episodic; it's serialized. And what we basically saw was like mini serialized ideas throughout the thing.
Right.
And we could be moving towards bigger things like that. Maybe there's 6-episode or 6-parters, next year.
Well, it's not just Game of Thrones. That's where modern TV is right now. It's The Walking Dead, Mad Men. Every week builds on the last. There is no Monster of the Week. There is no story arc. It is just the story of the show. Mm-hmm. And I think that is where Doctor Who should go, just to get with the times.
Opinion is, sorry, just almost popped out of my mouth. I kind of disagree with that. Actually, no, I don't kind of. I very much disagree with that. Because I feel like that's what Doctor Who is, in a sense, like in its heart. I also saw where you were coming from as well. I got the vision of both Gabe and Joseph. Because I did see how magnificent the season was, but I also saw that it probably was not, what the forefathers of Doctor Who kind of envisioned. I mean, it is, rubber monsters, and like it is like a little bit cheesy, and it's kind of hokey, and it's jokey and fun, and this season definitely had a lot of great moments. A lot of tear-jerking speeches, and even like possibly mind-changing speeches and all that, which is a great thing for it to do. But then again, it can also beg the question, like, well, is that what Doctor Who really needs to do? Like, does it have to be this deep, or can we just be fighting rubber monsters?
I think to say that it needs to stay, this silly, quaint rubber monster fighting TV show. I mean, that's not necessarily true because everything has to evolve. Everything has to change. If it stays stagnant, it's going to die.
Well, yeah, but I mean, should we lose that altogether?
I think that there's still a nod to that. I mean, even in the most serious moments, there's still room for the Doctor being a little silly.
Yeah, and I think that a through line for the season is not going to necessarily destroy any chance to keep that silliness and that fun. It's just going to make it take a little bit of a different form, maybe.
Well said, Susan over there.
Oh, thank you.
I like it.
I'm trying to grasp an example from this season, but they're eluding me at the moment.
You should have been watched the whole thing.
I know, right? Well, luckily I have this sheet of notes. So I thought maybe we could kind of skip or, kind of step along the pebbles of the different episodes and share a little bit about what we think. How's that sound, everybody?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So, first off, Magician's Apprentice.
I don't remember that one.
That was...
Nope.
No.
That had a doctor in it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the weird thing. I feel like they worked extra hard for these because we're going to have a whole series of two-parters, which were the two-parters were actually kind of made it a little bit weak. Like the first half of the two-parter was always just like unnecessary. I felt like an unnecessarily long build-up. There's a lot of times where we were just sort of waiting in tension as like monsters were walking by. It just seemed like that was just to kind of fill in time of the fact that it was a two-parter. But you could see what episode they really wanted to make. It was usually the one that was in the second part. It's like, okay, well, we have to, make all these other ones. In the same vein, they have kind of matching titles. So, for instance, we have The Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar. Ooh. Anyway.
Well, that was a constant throughout the season. Like,
Yeah, that's throughout the season.
the
where
Saigon
yeah.
invasion, the Saigon inversion, and
Yeah,
so forth and so on.
yeah, exactly. So it was just kind of like the only one that was like clever, I think, was Under the Lake and Before the Flood because it actually kind of pertained to what was going on.
Yeah. The other ones just seem kind of random.
Yeah,
Like Heaven Sent, Hellbent. Hellbent kind of makes sense, I guess, because Doctor is, but Heaven Sent really doesn't.
but it rhymes with hell.
It does rhyme, and it's similar ideas. So yeah,
Moffat. Shaking my fist.
Yes.
there was one other episode, 2 episodes. What am I forgetting? Oh, Girl Who Died, Girl Who Didn't Die.
The girl who died, woman who lived.
That's yeah.
Yes.
Which again, not really a 2-parter, but please pretend.
Yes.
We put to be continued.
Exactly. So anyway, Magician's Apprentice. I thought that the opening of it was quite compelling. I kind of dug like the little Davros thing because at the beginning.
Oh, you mean the small young Davros?
Yeah, small young because like you don't know who this boy is, and then it's like the doctor is like, who's the boy who's not gonna die today? Davros. And then he has like a look on his face of like, oh no.
Why am I here?
But did he even stop to think there's more than one person named Davros? I mean,
It's not a very common name. Davros.
Yeah, that's true.
anyway.
Is
Too late to think about that
Davros
now.
a last name or
Well, I don't think we know.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe it's all. I don't know how things go in Scarlet. Everybody just has one name.
I think so, actually. You only ever hear one.
You
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I'm Dalek Thay. I'm also Dalek Thay. Wait, that's my name as well. There's so many Dalek Thays.
Exterminate.
I like in your notes you call him Young Dav.
Young Dav. Yeah, Davy.
Oh, Davy. That's cute.
Oh, here's a thing that, and this is just a little bit that I did not like so much. That irked me. It was a very small thing, but so they when they go over to Unit, when the planes have stopped, and Clara's like, do. And one of the unit people says something to the effect of like, oh, excuse my sci-fi, but this is beyond human tech or human technology. And like, okay, you're in unit. So sci-fi kind of isn't a thing for you anymore. Mm-hmm. And the fact that like, I don't know, you're even like saying that, pardon me for being kind of weird and science fiction-y, but this might be from another planet. It's like, yeah, isn't that kind of what everything in Unit is about?
It's the whole reason for their existence.
Yeah.
Well, so my whole problem with that bit of the story was it was unnecessary. We didn't need to have Missy, stopping the planes, getting Unit involved just to find Clara.
Well,
they have to kill time for the two-parter.
Exactly. This is basically what it was. Now, I enjoyed all of it. I really loved Missy in the episode. I thought she was a lot of fun, and I thought that the standoff for that whole conversation between Clara and Missy, I really enjoyed that part. So there were bits that it went to that I really, really enjoyed, but again, the whole purpose for it was kind of
the thing they don't want you to know is that they didn't need Clara for that episode either. So they had to do something with her. So I guess Missy gets to come back because if you think about it, everything that Missy is there and does only really affects. It really only affects Clara. Nothing she does intersects with the Doctor whatsoever until like the very absolute end when they're like, oh hi, we're both here now.
Well, and it was somebody, I think, when we talked about that episode, the whole reason for it was Moffat had the idea of what would you do if you put the Doctor in the room with Davros
for an hour.
Yeah, for an hour, and
because you've never done that before.
That's really boring. So let's cut that down to 20 minutes, and then fill out the rest of the hour and a half with
jokes and swears,
and Missy and Clara. Yeah.
Well, and I guess part of the problem is we seem to look at Doctor Who with a very critical eye.
We do.
And when you listen to other people talk that are more, I don't want to call them casual fans, but people that still watch all the time but don't
Called
really...
muggles.
don't really put a lot of thought into it. And they're like, oh, that was really cool. Missy was really great. And that's it. Over. But we're like, I'm irked. Even though I like the season, I like the episode, I'm still irked that episode was just unnecessary. So maybe...
That's because we're angry, jaded people.
Yeah, we've been watching this now for 9 years. Most of these other people have popped up back with Matt Smith, so they're not used to these hijinks.
Well, I think that the purpose of this story was to set up what was going to happen for the whole season, and also to kind of give the audience a distraction. Because this is where they actually do it in the Witch is Familiar, but that's where they introduce the idea of a hybrid, and that it was, Davros says, half Time Lord, half Dalek. So that starts everything, and then they basically throughout the whole entire series go, oh no, but then here's another hybrid, oh, and here's another hybrid, and then it turns out to be possibly something that we didn't even talk about. So yeah, this was just kind of a big setup, and it has like a lot of things where the Doctor knows or believes he's going to die, and here's his confessional. So I mean, there's a lot of things that this sets up to not even be answered.
Right. I still think Missy tampered with his confession dial. She's the one who was sent by the Time Lords to implant that trap, and we'll probably find out later.
Oh, really?
It's my theory still.
It's your theory. I like it. Write it down.
I could see that.
No, we'll never hear about anything this season ever again.
Which is Familiar. Here's a big quote that I pulled from Which is Familiar that seems to have like a super foreshadowing towards the end. The Missy says, "The Doctor without hope. Nobody's safe now. He'll burn us too." Which is basically like the whole thesis almost of this season. This is how far the Doctor goes, and it's just kind of interesting. Said right there, this is what he's going to be like. He'll even destroy Clara if he not realizing it because he's so enraged with this hopelessness. Oh, there's another nice little bit when the doctor says, "Sometimes on a good day, if I try very hard, I'm not some Time Lord who ran away. I'm the doctor." There's several points where he claims to not be the doctor in this season.
Which I think is one of the more terrifying things,
Yes.
really.
Yeah, Face the Raven when he's like, "Oh no, you're stuck with me."
Because if he's not the doctor, he's a villain, straight
Yeah.
up. So,
Well, no, because the War Doctor rejected the title Doctor.
Yeah.
But still, ultimately was going for the greater good, or at least his idea of the greater good.
and that's the problem, is his idea of the greater good, I don't think always lines up with reality. So,
Well, even when he's the Doctor, that's still true.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Okay, so Under the Lake. I enjoyed Under the Lake.
I really liked it. I mean, hands down, the two-parter, I liked it a lot. Both episodes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that both of those episodes were pretty tight. Like they had a reason to be a two-parter. Maybe the only one that had a reason to be a two-parter.
Solid.
Let's
Good
not
solid
lose
reason.
ourselves here.
Yeah,
Oh, do you object upon that statement?
Well, I think several of them deserve to be two-parters. I mean, there were definitely moments when there was filler, and it felt like Moffat kind of rushed things, or made his writer rush things just to get it on film, because a month per episode isn't enough time. But all in all, I mean, I don't feel like there was any one episode that I would have cut in half.
I would probably delete a whole episode, a couple episodes, and mash it into the second part. That's my opinion.
Just do 53-minute long episodes. They've shown
Yes.
they'll do it.
Now, Under the Lake is where you get the introduction of the cards of how to properly respond to people, the PC cards. I noticed in this one that Clara started acting very doctory.
Started.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well,
She's been doctory going back to last season.
Them's fighting words.
I don't know, she was kind of, I feel like, very noticeably doctory. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a big pudding head, but
It definitely got more pronounced this season, I think.
yeah.
But it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, going back to last season, she clearly has taken on the idea of putting herself in danger. I mean, what really, in my mind, took over was Flatline.
Yeah.
When Riggsy is her companion, and she even jokes, "I'm the doctor now."
Yeah, well, and I think, too, when she was in a situation like that, she kind of had to be. And in this story, she, then again, has to be the doctor.
But that was also the first time you saw the doctor seem concerned with the way she's becoming. At the end of that,
Yeah.
when she's proud of herself, the doctor is kind of like, I think maybe we need to just step back a bit.
Well, we could chill it out there, Clara. Ease off the brake pedal.
No, he's on the brake pedal.
Ease on the... Oh, sorry, yeah. The other way around.
Things will come up.
Yeah.
Indeed.
There is the duty of care at least in this season, that's the first time that it's really announced. And duty of care is a thing that's also spread out. It's another crumb that's spread around the season for us to grasp onto.
Seeds to be planted.
Seeds to be planted.
Well, it really paid off at the end when the doctor is telling Clara on Gallifrey that he went through all this to save her because he said a duty of care, and because you knew it was more than that, and his voice was cracking, and he had the intense 12th Doctor eyes.
Right.
It actually made it much more poignant to know that it's a lot more than that. So I'm glad they actually spread it around like that.
So before the flood, we had that wonderful Joseph's favorite thing.
My favorite thing.
Your favorite thing that you couldn't stop raving about, which was the explanation of the bootstrap paradox.
Oh, I see. It's one of those things where you say the opposite of what's
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Okay.
Sort of like a paradox.
You know what? When I first started watching it, I was kind of like, I don't see the big deal because I understand for people who maybe already know about the bootstrap paradox or what it is, that could be helpful. But then again, after watching it, it's like, but it wasn't necessary. Like, it could have just been.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost kind of like, and I think that you even mentioned it, but like the author kind of saying, see, the bootstrap paradox, I used it. Get it? But it's like, no, see, this is a crazy concept, guys. Who did send the message, right? I want to make sure everybody knows that we don't exactly know the origin of the message. Isn't that cool, guys? Guys, why is nobody eating lunch with me? This was an episode where there's like a lot of times people kind of waiting.
Yes.
Waiting for ghosts to walk through corridors and miss them. And so this is another example of maybe we could have shortened this a little bit. Anyway, all right, let's take a quick break and then jam out to some of these other bits. Yes. All right.
Boom.
Boom.
Come on over and please sit down. Just playing doctor ain't no messing around. So what's wrong, yeah? What you need is supersonic and it's just out of reach. Just one question before time gets away. Have you had your dose of the doctor today?
Okay, and now we are back, jumping right into the season 9, starting off with Girl Who Died. Now, Girl Who Died it did not feel like a two-parter. It felt like two separate episodes.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
But one of the things that we kind of get for the whole, I guess the overarch, we get duty of care again. I think that the big things though is that there's a lot of foreboding about about losing companions, and because he talks how hard it is when we're losing people, and he basically is describing losing Clara to Clara because he knows that she's going to die just because of the fact that she can't live as long as he does.
Right, at some point she will die.
Yeah, at some point.
Well,
Yeah,
not now. Spoilers.
yeah, but and then the idea of being immortal is not dying; it's watching everybody else die around you. There's a lot of that kind of talk happening that I think kind of sets up what's all about to happen.
Well, the big lesson from the two is that the doctor comes in, does his thing, appears to save the day, and then leaves. And that there's often a mess in his wake.
Yes, there's a mess. Oh, actually, yeah, absolutely. And then, so when we jump into The Woman Who Lived, she even talks about that. She's like, "Oh, that's what you do," and he's like, "Oh, how do you know what I do?" But it's like you can probably gather. This is kind of the doctor's MO.
He's a Band-Aid when you need, surgery.
He's a Band-Aid. Sam Swift is kind of a loose end, isn't he?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because he's dead. He just got ruled and died. They basically say that. The doctor's like, nah, it's not going to work.
But then
Because he was too far gone, so that thing basically used all its energy, closing the rift that... Okay.
But then it seemed like he was kind of lying, too. It seemed like the way that he was saying it was like, like, hey, but look, he's immortal forever. And then she was like, but he's kind of creepy. Like, that was what her face was saying. And then he was like, or maybe he won't live forever. Maybe because all the energy was already used up, and then maybe it had to bring him back. And, I don't know.
It's a mystery.
Because when you think about it, yeah, it took all that energy to bring him back from the dead. But so was a shielder. She was dead, too.
But she wasn't, like, sealing a vortex of doom at the same time.
That's true.
She was just plain old just lying there.
That's true.
I think that was the premise anyway.
Okay.
Don't worry, Stephen Moffat already forgot about that character.
I thought that maybe he's a character that could come back. I wouldn't hate that character to come back.
Agreed.
And they all live happily ever after.
That's basic. That's anybody else have any wise words about the woman who lived?
Fire breathing lion.
Fire breathing lion.
That's my words.
You didn't like it.
Boom! Saigon invasion. I did not like this episode. This was one that, to me, it didn't need to exist, and it was an example of the story they want to tell is the Zygon inversion. The invasion, they're like, okay, well, you have to make it a two-parter. So it's like,
yeah, it was the biggest of the fluff.
it was so big.
Agreed.
I mean, the doctor didn't even do anything. He was standing back the whole time, going like, "Hey, what's going on over here? Oh, what's that? Oh, so what's your plan? Okay, you're gonna all right. Just try not to kill too many Zygons. All right. Oh, what are you doing over there? Oh, that's kind of interesting. He doesn't actually get involved with anything until like the very end, where he says, like, "Oh, they say my plane's never gonna land. Let's see what we'll do about that." Then the doctor starts to get into the episode. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. Gabe?
It definitely was a little off, but I still didn't dislike it. I still will say I liked it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was so time killy with the entire not goose egg, red herring of sending
Yes.
Kate,
The episode
Kate
was
off.
a goose egg.
Yes. Like, let's send Kate off to this place for no good reason to follow up on this, useless clue. Let's leave Claire behind, somehow in charge of unit for no good reason. Well, the doctor goes off to the least important place, well, second to least important place, to do nothing. Well, no, to save Osgood, but it's the I escaped somehow situation. It was like, oh, that was easy. We were just right there the whole time.
Yeah.
Nothing, no tricks. It was just, we have Osgood now.
Yeah, definitely.
Unnecessary.
A positive about that episode is it was really interesting to watch Clara act like herself, because there was Zygon Clara. It was something that I noticed because I was watching it again, and I'm like, oh, she's trying to act like herself. Like, this is how Clara would act.
I actually recall at least one of you saying that you like evil Clara better than Clara.
She was more interesting for sure.
I don't think that was me. I'm pretty sure it was not me.
Might have been Susan.
Oh, no, it might have
It
been
might have
Susan.
been me. Am I evil? We don't know.
Yeah, well, there was evil Clara, but then
No, not call her evil. It was,
Mirror
it
Universe
was
Clara.
Zygon Clara.
Zygon. Okay, so but like
Bonnie.
going up, Bonnie, before the big reveal where she finds herself in there. She does, before the episode lets us officially in on the secret that, oh, it's not Clara. She does a lot of things to still kind of act like it's like she still does it. Jenna Coleman does a good job of like still being Bonnie, but then Bonnie playing Clara, which I thought was good. Good acting chops on there.
Give her a BAFTA.
Indeed.
Give her a BAFTA. A BAFTA with bubbles. Oh, that's stupid. A bubble BAFTA, that's what it was. Sorry.
That's why you got to workshop the jokes.
Yes.
I wonder if they call them bubble baths in England.
I don't know.
The inversion, though,
Yeah. Oh,
it flips it.
although
You do a
I
good episode.
exactly.
Hey.
Basically, like everything about the Zygon inversion was amazing. That was the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that Zygon inversion could be one of my favorite moments in all of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That speech in
Yes.
particular.
Sleep No More. Horrible episode.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was not horrible.
Let's just write that one off.
It was
It's a
just-
monster made of like eye crumbs.
I had no fun watching this. I was gonna skip it. And I'm like, no, Matt, watch it. It's part of the season, and I just had no fun watching it the second time.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Ugh.
It's just
We already
an
had
eye crummy episode.
we're in a thing trapped here with a monster like under ground or water or space.
And-
we did that this season.
And again, this was another episode of people like standing and like hiding and waiting for monsters to walk by. Mm-hmm. And this was like just a one-off episode. Can you imagine if it was a two-parter like it originally was supposed to be? Like, I would be so angry if it was a two-parter watching it. I would be so angry. Like, what more to that story? Like, I felt that was too much story already.
Are you okay, Barbara? Yeah, that would have. Yeah, it was spread thin as it was.
Yeah.
Someone had an idea, like they got the rights to that song or something. Like, we should do something with this.
Did you watch this terrible episode?
Oh yes, this one I saw.
Oh,
It was
of all the
not great. I know. I missed some of the good ones and saw this one instead. But I feel like they put it in just because they felt like they needed a break in the rest of the story. Like they needed to have it rest for a week before they went back to it. I don't know. It felt like it was just there to kill time more than anything else.
Well, if I recall from that podcast, it was an episode that Gatus had pitched several years back, and it had been on the back burner until finally Moffat's like, okay, that Sandman one, go.
We have nothing else.
Exactly. We're down an episode.
I only wrote 5 episodes this season, and we need 12. What are we gonna do?
Stretch.
Yeah. And any positive thing you wanted to say about Sandman?
No.
Episode? No, nobody wants to say anything. The ending was very creepy, though. I will give it that for wanting to be creepy. The guy's face melting. He's like, "Is there something in your eye?" Or there's something there, right in your eye. That was kind of creepy. So good job. It was all a lead up to that.
Eh,
But
not worth it.
Not worth it. Face the Raven. Now we got here's an example, guys. Here's an example of exposition. There's a good amount of like exposition in it, setting everything up, and it goes so quickly. It went so efficiently. So it's like could have been like that the whole season. Because they set up with Riggsy, like his backstory really quick, the problem. And then, now we have to get to the thing. And then they had like all these little bits. Like, can you imagine if this was like Face the Raven was a two-parter? That whole thing of them trying to find Trap Street would have been like probably most of the episode. It probably would have ended with them finding Trap Street. Would have been like walking around cafes and stuff the whole entire first season. First season. That's how long it would have taken. I don't know.
Just like City.
I don't know.
It's a 6-episode arc now.
Clara in this starts rattling off about how to be the Doctor. Just saying like, this is Doctor 101. Doctor 102. And I wonder if this is something back in the Girl Who Lived, where the Doctor is kind of explaining he's like, okay, when he's talking about the battle scene, and he's like, first job to winning is, look happier than the other guy. That's the whole point of winning. And so he's basically kind of giving the rules about this is what I do. And now here's Clara in this episode just kind of rattling off, this is what the Doctor would do. So Doctor 101, 102, which is one of those things where she believes that she's like at this level of being the Doctor. So sure, this is what's going to happen.
I recall saying on this podcast about that episode that Clara actually is as clever as the Doctor. The only thing that she doesn't have going for her is regenerations. Because the Doctor's not perfect. The Doctor sometimes gets caught and has to regenerate.
That's true.
So Clara proves herself to be just as capable as the Doctor. All we need is some magic.
This just would have been when she regenerated. This would have been her regeneration episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to be fair, she does ultimately kind of figure out a way around it,
Or at least, she does.
She doesn't cheat it completely, but she delays it indefinitely. So,
Right.
Yeah.
10 points for Clara.
10 points for Clara.
I like it.
10 points for style, but like minus $1 million for good sense.
Yes.
10 points for Gryffindor.
Yeah, Heaven Sent. I will say about this. The Mind Palace scenes did break up the castle monotony. That was a nice little palate cleanser.
It was also a wholesale ripoff of himself
It
from
is.
Sherlock.
Absolutely. Or was it a ripoff of not Ian Fleming. Sir.
Ta-da.
And I also wrote, "Oh, it was very painful watching the doctor punch through the asbestium."
Yeah.
It's just like the way he's like, "Ow!" every time. Like, stop! That's very. I know that you have to do that, but
Maybe you pick something up. There's got to be something you can smash with.
A
Yes.
shoe?
Anything.
maybe something other than your fists. Come on.
Well, we're gonna assume Time Lord fists are harder than human fists.
Yes.
Otherwise, he would
It
have
would just have shattered.
broken bloody hands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also, Time Lords make weird things.
Yes. Yes. Once you get that bigger on the inside technology, you don't stop.
That's odd. The confession dial. I know later he says it's meant to be used so a Time Lord can get right with his thoughts before he's uploaded into the Matrix. But Time Lords make weird things.
Yeah.
It's a different society.
But it is.
But the Time Lord Matrix is actually established in the original series, so we can't blame Moffat for that one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Look at that. Which also now brings us to the grand conclusion. Hey, we're doing good on time, I think.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Well, there's handwritten notes now.
Well, that's my conclusion.
There's a scroll.
Yeah, that's why I don't have to think of all the different podcasts to.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wrote the Matrix scene was a bit long, but it picked up. It definitely picked up during the duty of care scene, where he's explaining to Clara about his little duty of care.
Which that scene, is one of the scenes. So this is our most recent podcast, just a few weeks ago. But I mentioned that was one of the scenes. There were like 3 or 4 where I just cried.
Yeah.
And that was one of them.
Yeah. And of course, it all comes to a conclusion where he realizes that he can't just kind of keep on going ever with Clara, because this is about how destructive things can get, which goes back then to Missy's comment of this is what happens when he is without hope. But mainly, I feel like this definitely could have been maybe a 7-episode
Series.
season.
Yeah. Kill a
7
Sleep
or 8.
No More too. Drop it down to 6.
Yeah.
Done.
Done.
Next time, Moffat.
Executive decision.
Executive. I don't know. There's a lot of them in here that, and even even if the Under the Lake Before the Flood was the only 2-parter, that probably would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have any thoughts?
So my initial thesis when we started this thing was that it's the strongest episode of the modern era.
Or season, right?
And I stand by that. So even with the episodes that were a little bit clunky, a little bit padded, I wouldn't change a thing, because overall the lows were nowhere near as low as some of the middle episodes from previous seasons. So I'm okay.
I can see that.
And Capaldi is brilliant, and Clara was brilliant.
And she will be still.
I walked away after the binge really enjoying Capaldi. Really enjoyed him. And I really felt like before I was kind of warming up to him still. I mean, I enjoyed him. I always had faith and stuff in Capaldi doing the Doctor, but I always seem to have to warm up after the Doctor regenerates. But I really, really felt like this time I'm really prepared, and I'm all steams ahead for this next season for Capaldi's Doctor. Let's see where this goes. Unfortunately, we've lost the companion that he's been with the longest, so there goes that chemistry.
And the other bummer is whenever we get a new companion, it's going to be probably a good 4 or 5, maybe even 6 episodes before things settle into normal.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. But so that adjustment period can be fun sometimes. You know, it's not always drudgery and just like, you know, trying to figure out where the series is headed again. You know, occasionally they get it right. And
Yeah, that's fair.
Look at Shakespeare Code.
I just, I really am looking forward to. Well, and again, I think RTD was probably a little bit better at these kinds of transitions than Moffat is.
it's true.
Because Moffat wants to make everything a grand, epic event. And sometimes, you know, a story is just a story. You don't need to make it the, Ben-Hur of the BBC.
It's true.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to turn up as the next companion? I say what because, you know, aliens. And
Metal
whatnot.
Dog.
My bets are River Song. Oh wait, okay, because here's the thing, is that Moffat said that the next companion is going to be somebody that we have never seen before. So I say that the next season is just going to be the Doctor and River, and she won't quite be his companion.
Oh, so you're shooting around. It's like the next companion will be someone new, but we're not on the next companion yet.
Yes.
Oh,
That sounds. I could see Moffat doing something like that easily, or just lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
Oh, you never met Wilfred before? Okay, weird.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Stephen Moffat, I almost called him the Doctor. Stephen Moffat has said that it'll be something we've never seen before. Capaldi has requested somebody who is, quote, a bit more working class. And last news that I read about this, which was a few weeks ago now, Moffat had it down to 4 or 5 candidates. So I do believe that a proper companion is in the works.
Yeah. So what's great about, and what I'm looking forward to in the Christmas special coming up, is the fact that it doesn't look like the Doctor. Oh, and this is, again, we don't have this problem. Usually, and I've been binge watching Christmas specials right now. And usually the Doctor, in the past, it's been a Christmas special once the Doctor has lost a companion. In the early RTD era. Or there's been kind of a weird change. In the first one, it was the Doctor was new and Rose was freaking out about that. And then for the first, even the next Doctor, he was kind of like bummed out about companions. He's like, never again, they hurt me. And he was sad about them. They leave and they break my heart. We won't get that now. Because even like in The Snowman, which is one of my favorite ones, the Doctor is super bummed out about the ponds.
Not even. I mean, he's living in a dark cloud with his TARDIS all dark, and it's all about what a sad sack he is until he meets his next companion.
Playing Morrissey in the TARDIS. Yeah. He's really, really bummed all the time at Christmas because he just lost a companion. So it's nice that at least he doesn't remember his last companion.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, it's not entirely true because
He just remembers a little bit about his last companion.
he immediately goes on a hunt to figure her out.
Yeah.
Even though he apparently remembers that he was supposed to forget and disregards that, as a Doctor will do, to immediately solve this mystery
Right.
and find her again.
Well,
So-
and he did, so hopefully he'll move on and find some peace. And
Maybe it was, oddly enough, maybe it was like a thing where he sees the painting on the TARDIS of her and is like, ooh, oh, that was her, wasn't it? Ah, I'm an idiot. Oh, well. Off to the
moving on.
next.
Yeah. That's really my hope.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best possible outcome for the Doctor, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so Moffat already kind of spoiled for us that the Husbands of River song will begin with the Doctor moping and trying to avoid anything Christmas related, and then runs into River and goes on an adventure. So apparently, he will be moping and sad.
Oh,
So, bah humbug.
Yes,
He's Scrooge.
but then once he finds River, apparently everything's back to normal.
yay, River.
She's the ghost of Christmas past.
And present and future all at once.
That's true.
So I'm quite excited. It'll be sad though we have the Christmas special later this week. We have, or when you're hearing this, maybe in the past, and then we have rumors they'll begin production in January, and then we're going to be looking at probably another 9 months till we have any more New Who.
9 months.
Dun, dun,
Does anybody want to have a Doctor Who baby?
Well, on that note, Susan, any thoughts on the series 9?
I'm excited for Clara's magical flying diner adventures.
Yes, Clara and me.
Yeah, see, I would totally
me.
watch that.
And me.
I would watch that series in a heartbeat. That sounds fantastic.
Me too.
Maybe they'll get a big finish out of it.
Be nice.
Oh, I bet they would.
Well, in the best tradition of Doctor Who, they left it wide open. So if a producer wants to take it up, they probably could. But we do also have, I lied a little bit. Next year we will have the spin-off series,
Broadchurch.
Class, what's it called?
I don't know.
There's a new spin-off coming next.
Oh, schools in session of
Yes, the one set at Coal Hill.
class of Coal Hill. Hey, there it is. I made it. Saved by the Coal Hill.
Do they have bells in
Yes.
British schools? I don't know.
Probably somewhere.
Matt, any final thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. I felt that I think it was probably one of my favorite ones of the new season. Although I definitely think that it has been weakened by the two-parters.
By the screaming cat outside?
Yes, by the screaming cat that makes me break my concentration. No, but there's the whole fact that like the two-parters really like were unnecessary for me. So, I don't know. Maybe bring some other people in. Well, you know, Joseph, I think that you will be happy because apparently this next season is gonna blow everybody's minds apart.
I've heard that several times.
There's real whoppers.
They're real whoppers. Oh, should I open the?
Let's hear from what was the how's the article written? Doctor Who showrunner extraordinaire. No, mastermind.
Mastermind. Oh
no, you're Moffat.
oh. We're gonna do this again.
Why is this a segment?
It's Tea with Stephen Moffat.
Theme tune.
Here we go. I'm just gonna start at the quotations. All right. We're already moving, said Stephen Moffat of the new season. In fact, he said, we've had meetings today with 2 writers who've never written Doctor Who before.
They've never written before.
It worked for Moffat. Oh,
Oh,
that's not true.
That's not true.
I like
That's
coupling.
not true. Yes, coupling is great. Moffat wouldn't name names for the fear of brain explosion. Wow.
you cannot speak their name. It actually like, triggers things in your head.
Saying only that they are brilliant, prominent, and amazing writers.
so I'm gonna say right here, if it's not J.K. Rowling, I don't care. It was like I was kind of a little bit excited when I realized Stephen King wrote X-Files. But it's like,
You weren't. It was not so exciting.
Maybe it's George R.R. Martin.
Maybe.
Oh, then your dream will become reality.
Although
Gabe.
he's just going to make people angry if he starts writing anything other than Game of Thrones at this point.
Well, isn't the whole thing like he has to finish this series before he dies?
Seriously, and I worry for the man
He's not so young.
and his 2-finger typing on his ancient computer.
Oh, wrong.
Ah.
Moffat continued.
Moffat continues. It's going to be amazing, he promised. Well then, if Moffat promises.
He seems rather excited
There's
about
one
it.
thing that I realize is to never trust Moffat.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder what his idea of an amazing writer is. It could be like his neighbor Bob.
Well, the thing is, we've said before, we give him a lot of grief on this podcast, but occasionally Moffat is a brilliant writer. The 50th was pretty close to perfect, in my opinion. I read some reviews, did not like it as much as I did, but
Not enough David Tennant.
Not enough David Tennant.
do you have a Hootube, man?
I do. So for this episode's Hootube, we do a little retrospective of Clara in season 9, series 9, all within that frame. It's called Doctor Who, Clara Oswald Farewell, parentheses, series 9.
Fan it.
By It's Smaller on the Outside, so definitely a Clara fan. Mm-hmm. It's a tribute trailer.
Tribute trailer.
So go ahead and enjoy that right now. It's a lot of fun. Very well done with all the different quotes and lines, and you'll have a nice little jaunt down memory lane with series 9.
Or you just watch all the episodes back to back.
Or do that, and if you don't have a lot of time,
There's no better way to spend your Christmas.
right? And go ahead and be sure to check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Go ahead and just search for Arrow of Time Podcast. And you can leave comments and rate us, and we like all that. And we are also on Twitter at AOTpodcast.com. Go ahead and shoot us what you think about us on Twitter, because everybody else does that about other things. So we like that. And maybe I'll start doing periscopes from there. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. That makes sense. That only makes sense to do periscopes from our Twitter page. That seems like that would draw more people to our thing.
You can also go to facebook.com/Arrow of Time Podcast.
Yes, that's the long one. Or just search us on Facebook. We're there.
Or you can find all these things at our website, aotpodcast.com.
You can. And you can also go to our YouTube if you like watching or listening to us.
If you like watching a static picture.
Yes. But if you like YouTube, because sometimes that's better, I found out, than doing it the other ways.
Sometimes.
Thanks to good old Conrad. And you can also check us out on our network, musingsofageek.com, and you can find other great podcasts such as Dark Angels, Pretty Freaks, Sweating the Small Stuff, Graphic Novice, and Red Horse Radio, not to mention the great flagship podcast, Musings of a Geek Podcast. And that is that. So,
That is that.
that is that. Thank you for listening to this amazing episode of The Arrow of Time. I have been Matt.
I've been Joseph.
I have been Gabe.
And I'm Susan.
And this has been The Arrow of Time.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Your dogs on the doctor today. Ooh, yeah. Have you had your dogs on the doctor today? Yeah. Woo. Have you had your dogs on the doctor today?
You are now leading the world of music.